name is Rico Aladdin and I'm the founder of Professional Lunch. My guest today is a former mayor. He is currently a judge, and I'm so glad to have you here, sir. Judge Johnathan Judd, please tell the professional lunch audience who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Johnathan Judd. I'm currently a judge in the state of Minnesota 7th Judicial District.
Okay.
Been there now for over 2 years, and I'm a father. I'm a husband. Try to be an active participant and being involved in our community. So, but I wear one official hat, but a lot of unofficial hats in the community.
I like that. I like that. We'll talk about the unofficial hats later. So tell us a little bit about your background. You are a mayor and now a judge. How about that transition? How was that?
You know, it was a good. Obviously, there's always going to be a little bit of a learning curve when you start something new. But, I think as far as the transition, it's been a good transition. I've got a lot of great colleagues that I work with, a great team with my court staff, not only in Otter Tail County, where Fergus Falls, where I'm at, but just all over the district. Really, really, truly blessed to have the opportunity to work with those folks. They've made the transition a lot easier. But like any other job, it's still a pretty big learning curve.
Yeah, absolutely. So I understand you went to NDSU. You were here for your undergrad, I suppose.
Absolutely, 91 to 95.
Okay, and then you went to UND.
Yep, UND Law. Yep.
So is it you? We're gonna take this time to talk about. Is there a little rivalry between the two schools that is still going on?
Not. I think it was pretty much a big rivalry back when I was here.
Okay.
And then when NDSU was going through the process of going Division I, and they didn't play each other, it wasn't as much. But I think it's trying to rekindle itself, if you will. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll take the conversation towards you as a judge, but being a mayor is a big job, for a great community such as Moorhead. So as a judge, what are your duties and responsibilities?
Well, in essence, what we do, and this might be an oversimplification, because some people talk about using a baseball analogy where you call balls and strikes. That might be oversimplifying it, but just to break it down, I mean, in essence, what we look at is we look at the parties that come before the court, and we have to keep an objective, equitable lens by how we resolve disputes between parties. So the cases I hear, there are criminal cases, there are family law cases, there are civil cases. When you get closer to the Twin Cities, those courts, like in Hennepin County, Minneapolis, or Ramsey County, St. Paul, they divide up the judges to serve in certain types of courts, where there's a civil court, a family court, and a criminal court, and then they do a rotation based on length of time. In greater Minnesota, we hear everything.
Oh, wow.
So in one day, you could probably hear a criminal case, and then the next day you could hear a civil case, or you could hear a family law case, or a juvenile delinquency case. So I would say what our jobs are, breaking it down to simplify it, is our job is to make sure that the justice system where we are moves in an efficient, effective manner, and making sure that all parties are heard in an equitable manner when they come and resolve their disputes in court.
Okay, wonderful. So what are your favorite types of case?
Well, adoptions. Everybody's happy, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I was told, is that when you have, when you do an adoption, everyone leaves happy. So those are probably obviously at the top of the list. To be honest with you, I've taken a pretty holistic approach to all my cases. So I try to see positives in all or the majority of the cases that come before me, because they're looking to me and others in my position to solve problems, and be objective and take a holistic approach to resolving problems. But I can't necessarily say there are cases that I dislike, but I usually try to see the positive in all the cases.
Okay. Okay, so this show is about giving young professionals a window into successful professionals to see how they do what they do, what they like about their job, and what are some of the challenges. So, describe to me what is your workload on a day-to-day basis.
It depends on the day, obviously,
Okay.
but I say the majority of the time, when I wake up in the morning, I would say, even though our technical start time is 8 a.m., you're usually preparing the weekend. So usually Sundays, there's hours that you put into preparing for the Monday through Friday court calendar. And when you start your Monday calendar at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're still preparing for those cases that come before you. Usually 9 until noon is straight court cases.
Okay.
There's limited break time. So you're making decision after decision till noon. And then if you get a lunch break, because sometimes you're working over lunch, depending on time-sensitive matters, then you're back at it at 1:30.
Wow.
And then 1:30 to 4:30, you're in court. So there's very little time to actually do the paperwork that you need to get done to resolve the matter until after hours, or get up at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning and get it done. But practically for 8 hours, you're in straight court having hearings.
Wow. So at the, a little bit ago, you mentioned official and unofficial hats. So what are some of the unofficial hats that you?
Well, we're limited in the judicial branch where we can participate in the community because we still have to be objective, so we can't serve on boards or things of that nature that, might create a conflict of interest. But I would say unofficial hats. I mean, again, I've got a loving, caring family. I've got 3 kids, so I'm a father. I'm a husband. I would say I'm a football coach. I like to referee.
Okay.
I'm refereeing football, may even referee lacrosse. Never played lacrosse a day in my life. But I think it's really important for anyone, whether you're a young professional, or if you're been in your profession for a number of years, you got to stay actively involved in your community. You got to know what the pulse of the community is. And so I would say to at least, I know we ain't got to the advice part yet, but just, as we're going down that road,
absolutely.
when I can get it in, you got to stay actively involved in the community. I can definitely say I would not have been mayor, nor would I've gotten this position to be in the position to be here today if I was not actively involved in the community, in those unofficial roles, serving on boards, coaching kids, being involved in youth events, being involved in school activities, things of that nature. So those are just the number of the unofficial hats that I think I wear.
Wow, very good, very good. So there's the law, where you are right now, and also there's politics where you just have been 2 years ago. So plus and minuses of those two.
To be honest with you, in being in politics, I mean, there is stress because the problem is no matter what decision you make, you're not going to make everybody happy. I love being in politics. I mean, it was a very stressful time with the pandemic, the race conversation going on in our society, and also part of what my responsibilities was to handle the FM diversion project that's going on. So 3 big controversial things, flooding, we had a lot of things going on. And the pluses are that, to me, you get to meet people and hear their stories. You have to be a good listener being in politics. You should be a good listener anyway, but you really need to take that empathetic listening to a whole nother level when you're in politics. When people are hurting, you have to feel what they feel and understand. And you have to be able to try to find creative solutions to those problems. That's what I loved about being in politics, and that's what I love about my job. The challenges, I think, major are not being able, obviously, to make everyone happy. Because when you make a decision, there's someone's going to benefit from it, someone's not. So I think being able to being healthy, having a healthy mental, physical mindset to be able to deal with those stressors, I think that's a big challenge.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful.